We live in a day and age where we're really experiencing a health crisis in our midst. You know, the medical profession and university studies have said that obesity's tripled in the last 20 years. Cancer, heart disease, diabetes is on the rise. And what are we going to do about this, right? And even Dr. Colin Campbell, who many of us are familiar with the China study that was performed, did a lot of research into this, and his big consensus was that we need to be adapting a more whole foods, plant-based diet. What we want to focus on today is, what does this mean? All right, we need to develop this plant-based diet, and what I want to focus on is exactly looking at how our ancestors ate those nuts, those seeds, those grains and legumes, and they didn't prepare them as we do in our fast-paced world. They always soaked, sprouted, and fermented these kind of foods. Now, some people say these things have been around for the last few years, but the Chinese, the Essenes, they've been using them as superfoods for medical reasons, for a variety of different reasons. They ate these sprouts. Even Dr. James Cook, years ago, many jokingly said, he Googled and find out how the best way to prevent scurvy when he'd go on his 3-year voyages. But he took sprouts along with them, sprouted these nuts, seeds, grains, and legumes, and never lost one man to scurvy. In fact, the famous Robert Scott of the Antarctic, he grew microgreens, mustard greens, on his many voyages as well. Anne Wigmore, many years ago, in her battle with cancer and beating cancer, really popularized sprouts and wheatgrass and formed good eating, good healthy eating. And she said food can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. Sprouted foods. Professor Edmund Sheckley, I love his definition. He says that nuts, seeds, grains, and legumes are the most beneficial foods, calling them life-giving biogenic foods. A food that will just totally rejuvenate and rebuild your body at the cellular level. Absolutely amazing. And when you soak and sprout nuts, seeds, grains, and legumes, an amazing, phenomenal things happen. Let me illustrate this, if I may. I'm just going to grab my daughter's little doll here. And for example, this little baby, this doll here was a sprout born today. All right, 7 days from now, all right, born today at 8 pounds, let's say. In 7 days' time, this little baby, if it was a sprout, would weigh 128 pounds. That's an incredible explosion of exponential growth that happens when you soak and sprout nuts, seeds, grains, and legumes. And it's not just an explosion of weight, but it's an explosion of all your vitamins and minerals. And there's other amazing things. Enzymes start growing. So as you're harvesting these little sprouts and eating them just at that first set of leaves, let me show you. I'm just grabbing here a sunflower sprout. So you notice the first set of leaves. These are the cotyledons. And not the first true set of leaves, but when a nut, seed, grain, and legume is growing to this first set of leaves, the cotyledons, it is the most nutritious at that level. And in the graph, you'll see that as this little sprout starts to grow, it is the most nutritious at this level. And then, as all the energy goes into the finished vegetable, the nutritional level starts to decline. Absolutely amazing. Now, this is best illustrated in broccoli sprouts. The Johns Hopkins cancer research scientists back in the late 90s discovered something absolutely amazing about broccoli sprouts. They discovered that the glucoraphanin levels in it that our body uses to make sulforaphane and regulate blood pressure and cholesterol and fight specific kinds of cancer. They found that the glucoraphanin levels were up to 50 times more in the broccoli sprout than the seed or the finished head of broccoli. Absolutely amazing. And we have incredible testimony of friends and family that have used broccoli sprouts medically in this kind of way. The most ultimate of all sprouts, where most of the animal kingdom lives on, is wheatgrass, or many different kinds of grasses out there. And so grasses contain pretty well everything that an animal needs to sustain life. And if we were to look at the chlorophyll, where most of your sprouts start to grow, there's the chlorophyll that grows as the sunlight hits it. But if you were to look at chlorophyll and hemoglobin under a microscope, you would discover that the molecular structure is almost identical. And so, in a sense, green blood is almost identical to red blood. And when we eat our greens, like Mom said, all right, and you might have even said that to your children as well. Eat your greens; they're good for you, right? And but what happens are within minutes, our bodies are taking out the center nuclei of the chlorophyll, being magnesium, and replacing it with an iron, and we have brand new red blood cells. Absolutely amazing, just from eating our greens. And chlorophyll is powerful. I mean, the scientists are still discovering amazing things about this phytonutrient that's good for us in terms of cleansing the blood and the liver and detox and lots of antioxidants. So at the end of the day, sprouts are great for us, right? We know that everything's permissible and there's a lot of really good tasty things out there. But at the end of the day, a plant-based diet is what we're going to need for optimum health and nutrition. Because sooner or later, all those wonderful splurgings, indulgence that we might take catch up with us. And so I like it how Michael Pollan sums it up. He says, eat food, mostly plants, but not too much. Thank you very much.